Nope, we sure aren't. Is am I all alone here?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
my
hear
bad.
anything. I forgot I was muted.
Nice one.
Whoops. I was fixing something before we started, and I muted myself, and then I remembered. Uh, Foolish
All right.
Rob.
Nice one.
As I was saying, if that's a funny intro, sure, why not? Let's go for it. Hello, humans, because humans make mistakes. It is Rob here with Not a Robot Podcast, DC Comics Review Show number 125, the world's greatest comic show about the world's greatest superheroes. And with me, as always, as you've heard them before, and today, Brandon
Hello, everybody.
and Josh.
Hello, Earthling.
Oh, apparently Marvin is here.
Uh,
Yeah, Brandon, I think you are recording live on location from a
Yes,
patio.
live from my palatial estate. No, there'll be a little bit of a background noise. I apologize. It's just because we're traveling right now. Well, we've already traveled, but we're not at home, or I'm not at home at least. I'm staying in a hotel with my family while we visit my brother. So I'm recording outside because I don't have a private space to record. But at least I get to look at a beautiful sunset while I record. So I win in this scenario while the rest of you lose, which is really all that
You
matters.
definitely do.
Yeah.
For me right now, it's pitch black and snowy. So you definitely
oh
win.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are calling.
Yeah.
I live in Georgia, and they are calling for 7 inches of snow on
Jeez.
December 25th.
Oh, that's terrible.
Lovely.
That's
I'm gonna-
horrifying.
I'm going to send a picture over to you, Rob, and make you feel incredibly jealous.
We've had 20 centimeters over the past night, which I think is, if my conversions are correct, is roughly 5 to 7 inches.
Mhm.
That's a
Jeez,
lot.
yeah,
That,
that is terrible.
yeah. It's
just too
really
much.
not that much.
Yeah,
It's too much.
that's still too much.
Does it last
That-
on the ground
honestly,
longer than
around
1
here-
hour?
Yeah.
So around here, in terms of all of Canada, the weather's pretty tame. At least, especially for Ontario or Southern Ontario, it's pretty tame compared to the rest of
Mhm.
Canada when it comes to cold temperatures. But
Yeah.
this, what I have right now, is actually nothing.
Yeah.
The storm we had last year that I got stuck in for 5 hours outside
Oof.
gave us like 2 feet,
Yeesh.
maybe
I remember
more.
those days.
Yeah.
Snow
Yeah.
drifts. Lake
That was
effect.
fun.
Yeah,
I
we
do
didn't get
not miss Michigan. I tell you
Yeah.
that
We
much.
did not
I
get-
don't.
too much snow upstate, or at least upstate in Ithaca. I think Syracuse got it much worse than we did. But the problem is, even when you get a little bit of snow, if the temperature drops, all that turns to ice, which is even more deadly. And we just have a lot of like unsuspecting ice just laying about, and it's really not great. So I was glad to get out of there because I've not slipped on my ass yet, but I knew it was coming. So glad to not have that. And they don't have any winter maintenance, so no one's salting the streets or anything. You got to shovel it yourself,
Yeah,
which is even worse.
that's no good. You need a proper maintenance. All right,
Yeah,
Brandon,
we
you
need
spend a
some maintenance.
winter up here, you could survive any winter, don't you?
Oh
worry.
God, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right, so before we get into even more, I guess I'll get the intro stuff out of the way. So if you ever want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to comics@notarobotpodcasts.com, and you can get us on Twitter at notarobotcomics and Instagram at narcomicbooks. And if you feel like supporting us, visit buymeacoffee.com/NAR podcasts, where you can also gain access to our very own Discord server, where we are always talking about something. In fact, today, the past couple of days, we've been talking all sorts of movies, with which a good transition into news. DC movie news, the new Barbie trailer that came out today, I don't know, all sorts of movies. I think some horror stuff. We were talking about scary dolls yesterday. Apparently, Josh, you're deathly afraid of those things. I don't blame you if it's a Furby. Josh? Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear us?
Were you
Yeah,
able
I
to
can hear
me?
you.
Ah. I was talking to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I had to step up and grab my medicine. I forgot. I had forgotten to take it.
No worries. No, I was mentioning how yesterday we were talking about scary dolls in the horror section.
Oh God,
And
yes.
how you seem to
Yuck.
be that. I would not. I mean, I'd agree with you if it was a Furby, because those things are creepy.
No. No. Any doll of any kind, basically, can be creepy as hell. As long as it's humanoid, it can be creepy as hell. Some of them don't have to be, but if they look like a human, they can be creepy as hell. And I mentioned it in the Discord when we were talking about it. The creepiest doll I've ever found. I was bumming around in a Goodwill, a thrift store, and they've always got the houseware aisle, the clothing aisles, the tool aisles, and then there's usually a what the fuck is this aisle? That's my favorite aisle. And on that aisle I walked through, and there was this doll, man. It was like about 10 inches tall, and the whole thing was white, like bone ass china white, can't get any whiter, right? The whole face, lips, everything, all completely white, dress white, the hair, this very matte, not shiny at all looking white, and no eyelids, just black eyes. And I still think about that fucking doll. It's creepy as shit, and I know it doesn't sound like much, but yeah, creepy as shit. And nope, I'm good on dolls. I'm good on dolls.
That is fair.
That does not sound fun. Yeah, okay, yeah. Especially the glass dolls. For me, the ones where the eyes move by themselves, when they actually close, they blink. Those ones freak me out.
Those are fucked
I
up.
can't stand it. Yeah. All right, so before we get into major news, I'll just mention our books. Today we're looking at WildC.A.T.S number 2, Batgirls number 13, Batman Inc. number 3, Danger Street number 1, Dark Crisis Big Bang number 1, I Am Batman number 16, Wonder Woman number 794, Superman Son of Kal-El number 18, and believe it or not, there's actually some books left for a couple of honorable mentions. We got a lot to talk about this week. But yeah, before we get into that, there's a little bit of news we can talk about that I have. That's been a big discussion point with us the past couple of days, and that's the news official, because there's been a lot of jumping the gun, and that's a bit of a pun, on DC movie news recently, from a lot of sources, a lot of news sites, just kind of spilling beans that don't necessarily exist, about the future of DC movies from James Gunn and Peter Safran. The one thing we can confirm is that Henry Cavill is officially no longer Superman for like the fifth time. And he's moved on to other projects, specifically a Warhammer 40k movie / series with Amazon Studios, which is exciting because I hear he is a huge Warhammer fan, so that's good for him. It is a shame he will not be Superman anymore, but we'll see what happens in the future. These things do happen. Showbiz is always changing. It's been a thing for decades. But James Gunn has said that they are still in talks with Henry Cavill to have him in some capacity in the future within the movies. That remains to be seen what it is, because of course they're still talking about it. So he's not completely out. He's just not necessarily going to be Superman.
Ugh. I mean, I did see one article that said that the Matt Reeves Batman will remain separate and won't be a part of the new universe building going forward. But that was just one article. All of that being up in the air has my... It's like, ooh, I really don't want that.
Yeah.
I do not want Batman in a Justice League.
No, I think that and Joker are going to be its own things, their own things rather. I think Gunn and Safran, they're trying to just start fresh.
I fucking hope so.
Maybe they tried to come up with a way to incorporate the past, and they might have some characters and actors come back in their previous roles, but it might be easier just to start fresh and do it right. Take your time, get the right stuff going. Don't have
as long as it's done right, I'm cool with it.
And sprinkled around. Okay.
As long as it's done right, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
But yeah, I mean, I've always known Ben Affleck I'll never see him in the Batman suit again after Flash. But my fingers were crossed for old Henry there. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. He's talking about starting out from young Superman.
Yeah.
How young remains to be seen. Keep in mind this is
with lots of friends.
Oh, okay. We know that much for sure. I mean, because we are talking about the guy that did Brightburn.
I forgot that he was a part of that.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't direct it or anything. He just he produced or wrote it or something, right? I think it was producer.
Let's say.
I know he didn't direct it.
Brightburn was his baby. I think he was a writer.
He wrote it.
But still, that would lead me to believe that. I think he'll approach it. I think he will approach it well. I'm just curious as to the age and the way that they're going to handle it, and I hope to fucking God it's not Frank Miller.
Yeah. He was producer. Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn wrote the screenplay. I'm not sure who they are in relation to James Gunn.
You know, part of the Guns. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I would assume so.
So he was definitely attached to that in a familial sense. So, yeah, that's been it in the movie world recently, I believe.
I mean, as far as I know, the shit with DC is gonna be very slow coming all the way up until it's time to talk about the movies that have come out, and hell, that's gonna take a whole year to get through.
Yeah. As long as they follow a simple rule, don't try to catch up to Marvel. There's no need, there's no way to catch up at this point. You don't need to do that. Just let them do their thing, and then you do your thing. It's not a competition. This is one thing I find hilarious when it comes to the modern fan, when it comes to the movie business now, that us comic fans, we got through our whole Marvel versus DC nonsense in the 90s. And since then, we've kind of just accepted that both exist and everybody's happy. But now that the movies have come out and that competition is in, the modern fan is at that again. It's all Marvel versus DC, and the comic fans are just like, God, catch up. Nobody cares anymore. We've been through this.
Get over it. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys got though? Any interesting stuff going on? That you've heard,
not a whole lot
in your lives.
Not too much. I really just wanted to pimp one thing out, and this is this is a comic that I have been eagerly anticipating and was very excited to finally get a chance to read earlier this week, and that is
Batman Spawn.
No, absolutely not. But I'm sure we'll get to that. But no, this is a new book from Boom Studios, who have slowly worked their way to becoming one of my favorite comic publishers at the moment right now. And that is a book called A Vicious Circle from Mattson Tomlin, who we know from the Batman Imposter miniseries earlier this year, and a fan favorite of the show, and a recent discovery of Josh's, Mr. Lee Bermejo, I actually had the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
meet at
Mm-hmm.
Fan Expo Boston, but I kind of forgotten about that. It was so long ago. But it's a phenomenal book. I read it on Tuesday, and I was just blown away. I mean, I'd seen the previews. Everyone had seen the previews, and it looked really excellent. Had a great high concept story and all of that. But actually getting the chance to sit down and read it was something else. So
Nice.
I'm like shouting it from the highest mountains, like everyone, please read this book. It's so great. I admit the the price is a little high. It's just because it's an oversized book. It's got the size of the DC Black Label books, if you're familiar with those, where it has the oversized art format, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just absolutely worth the price of admission, and really just a phenomenal read. And I believe it's only 3 issues, so it's not too serious of a commitment, but definitely worth your time if you're looking for something good to read in this holiday season. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to continue recommending it as subsequent issues come out. But yeah, no, very pleased with that one. Wanted to pimp that out a little bit.
Can't go wrong
I'm
with
not getting
that.
paid for this, by the way. I would gladly take a check from Boom, but I
Of
don't know if
course,
they
of
do
course.
promotions. Yeah,
And they're just like, boom, here's some money.
yeah, please.
Oh,
I'll
that'd
take
be
I'll take the
lovely,
check.
wouldn't
You
it?
don't even have to pay me in money. You can just pay me in free comps. I don't know, but
Oh, even better. I mean, I think they do that if you're just reviewing them as well.
yeah,
Is it
I would
really
I would
being
take
paid
that
if
as
they're
well.
giving it to you for the work?
Yeah.
Well, uh,
Well,
yeah, I think that's about it. I guess. Well, I was gonna ask, what are you guys reading this week outside of DC, if anything? But I guess Brandon, you've already
Mhm.
mentioned, unless there's
Yeah, well,
anything else.
that's one, I suppose, but I can let Josh go before I mention another.
no, actually, this week I had a seizure here
Oh
a
no.
number of days ago, and then some physical therapy, and my kids have been extra spicy, neurospicy this week, so I have not had the chance or the energy to get around to really getting into anything, unfortunately.
Well, then,
Mm,
sorry to hear that,
yeah.
but I'm glad you're
Yeah,
feeling better
it's,
Mhm. Well,
that's what
what
I
about you, Rob? I don't want to hog up too much airtime.
now. I honestly am. Well, I'm on my continuing mission to slowly reinsert myself into the Marvel universe.
Hmm.
oh.
Bit by bit, I've checked out. I'm a bit behind on my Marvel books right now. I still have 2 issues of Daredevil to read, but
Hmm.
I checked out this week's Iron Man. I think it's pretty interesting. Fantastic Four from Ryan North, I believe, has been really good. Dark Web with Spider-Man X-Men crossover has been interesting so far. Uh, yeah, it's the first time I've enjoyed Spider-Man in like 10 years.
Interesting.
I haven't
Well, we'll have
really
to talk
enjoyed
about that.
Spider-Man since before
Yeah.
Dan Slott.
Mm. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that further because this latest run of Spider-Man has been quite controversial.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, just in a lot of different things. But that's certainly a discussion for another
Okay.
day. Um,
Yeah, I definitely
but
want to hear about that because I haven't heard anything about Spider-Man at all about this
oh
run.
yeah,
But like,
yeah, no, it's
I'm
become quite
curious.
notorious in some circles. But no,
Interesting.
I mean, as for me,
Notorious.
aside from a vicious circle,
Uh,
it's been a very good week for indie comics. I would say I would almost say maybe it's time to write a post about it, but I'm not sure. You didn't hear that from me.
Oh,
Nonetheless, there's some really great stuff. I'm still enjoying the crap out of Dark Ride, which is the new series from our fan favorite writer Joshua Williamson and Andre Bresson. It's been a lot of fun, and the third issue came out this week, and I would say if you're a theme park fan or even a horror fan, there's a lot here to keep you satisfied. I am neither, kind of, so I don't know why I'm enjoying it so much, but it's been pretty good. And then, as always, and Isaiah, if you're listening, I hope you have a big smile on your face. But the Ice Cream Man feels like it's been a while since we've had the last issue, but the most recent one came out and is phenomenal as usual.
I have not
And
got
then,
to it yet. It's that great.
yeah, It is
Awesome.
just absolutely incredible.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
yeah, it's funny because Ice Cream Man also came out this week, but another book from the same team came out this week, which apparently is a reprint of an older series. It's called Art Brut, which is a reprint of um, Maxwell Prince and Martin Morazzo's book, The Electric Sublime, at IDW, which I'd never heard of, but I guess they just decided to reissue the series because why not? But I had the chance to read the first issue, and it was really good, just very creative. I want to do something on W. Maxwell Prince. There's something about him that I can't quite pin down, but I wanna write something about him. And then Friday, which is the Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin book um, from Panel Syndicate, but they sort of syndicate it in trades through Image, also came out. The second volume of Friday. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about halfway through because I kind of got busy and wasn't able to keep up with the digital versions. But Friday is always a delight, and it's very. I don't know how to describe it other than just if you read it, you'll know. It's for anyone who ever read like those kid detective books when they were younger, like Harriet the Spy or Nate the Great or stuff like that. It's reminiscent of that, but it's got like a yeah, it's almost got like a postmodern approach. Again, I don't have the right words for it, but if you read it, you'll sort of maybe get a better understanding. Um, but yeah, no, lots of great books outside of the usual superhero circuit this week that are really worth your time and worth checking out.
Right on. And when was it? It was last week, I think. Do a Power Bomb ended.
Yes, that was
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I believe last week issue 7 came out. That was also a
Great.
really
What a
strong ending.
ride that was. Josh, did you ever get a chance to check that out?
Do a power bomb.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I was going to start reading, and solely because of the way that you guys were describing how um, emotional it was at the end.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh
it's
man.
really great. Definitely one
Yeah.
of my favorite books of the year.
Definitely. I agree on that.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to check it out now.
Mhm.
Definitely. And dear listener, if you also have not checked it out, definitely check that out.
Yes,
Do a
yeah,
Power
do a
Bomb
power
was
bomb.
phenomenal.
Yes, Daniel Warren Johnson doing pretty much everything save for the colors, which I believe are Mike Spicer, his usual collaborator. Just incredible.
Yeah.
And I would say, as someone who knows next to nothing about wrestling, you don't have to know about wrestling to enjoy it. I hear it helps, but I know virtually nothing, and I still had a great time reading the story.
And as someone that does know about wrestling, it is also still really good to
Mhm.
see the almost meta discussion about wrestling that goes on in it. It's fantastic.
Mhm. Yeah, I almost wish I could learn more about wrestling, or maybe I should, so I could see if I could pick up on some of the meta commentary about wrestling.
Tune in on
I mean,
Fox, where Raw
if you have a
is
free
war.
afternoon one day, we can go through it.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
the
it's
three
funny
of us.
because
Josh
yeah,
knows a
they
lot of it too.
yeah, I have a friend I went to C2E2 with earlier this year, who I like discovered was a huge wrestling fan. Like he was in the closet about it, and I was like, when was this a part of your life? Because I've known him since high school, and he was like,
Very
since like my third year of high school. I was like, why did you ever say anything? Like he was I guess had been very cagey about it, mostly because I guess none of
Yeah,
us really knew anything
cagey.
about it expressed any. Yeah, ha, see what I did there.
Was it
Um,
steel KG?
yeah, so I was like shocked, and it came out because we met Daniel Warren Johnson, at his booth in Artist Alley, and he was like, oh wow, I didn't know he did like fan art of some Mexican wrestler that I'd never heard of, and he starts like talking about like all these different things. I was like, where did this come from? So there might be something there because I trust his opinion. So if he likes it, then maybe there's something for me to enjoy as well.
I grew up on this shit. I mean, I grew up with family members that just started me out as a young child watching
Mhm.
the old WWF. I've drifted in and out and in and out, more in over the course of my lifetime. And I was off for a while, but I just started watching it again actually, and basically it's not changed very much. The gimmicks are a little bit less, a little bit. There's much more female wrestling, which is cool because there's some incredible athletes.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
Sometimes it's pretty cheesy storylines, but I mean it's an all right time. Consider it like sitting back and watching a popcorn movie.
Pretty
Sure,
much.
yeah. That sounds good.
But if you are getting into wrestling, there's three things if you want to get into the history of wrestling or specifically the WWF. There's three things you need to know, and Josh is going to get all of these. There is the Montreal Screwjob.
Hmm.
Oh, that's Bret the Hitman Hart.
Right, yeah.
You suck.
That's Kurt Angle.
And that time Undertaker threw Mankind off 50 feet of Hell in a Cell.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And by God is my witness, he is broken in half.
Oh man, you know JBL just came
They
back.
killed him. Oh, he's on AEW, isn't he?
No, he's back with the WWE now.
No
Or at
shit.
least he's
man.
gonna be up next week. John Cena's coming back too. I don't know what the probably because for the holidays, I guess.
Sweet. That'll be a good time to tune in. God, I miss. Yeah, JBL. No, not JBL. What did you say? Did you say JBL?
Yeah.
No, it's not JBL. That's Bradshaw.
All right.
Oh my God. Now you said JBL, I can't think of his name. This
It
Jerry
is
King
JBL,
Lawler
ain't it?
and no, it's not JBL. JBL was his he was with Farouk in the APA back in the 90s and early 2000s.
Oh yeah, this is the
Bradshaw.
cowboy guy.
Yeah, JBL later on when he was a heel, his gimmick was a rich cowboy and he was an asshole.
Oh well, that's who it is then.
Well, no, that's not the guy that goes by God.
Well, no, I wasn't saying that, but that's who's coming back to WWE.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were talking about. God, I can't think of his name now.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about, though,
He's
right,
got the
Josh?
big old fucking jowls and JJ.
Yeah. He's got
Oh,
the
hell, I
barbecue
can't remember.
sauce. JR. Jim
JR.
Ross.
Yeah, that's
Good
what
old
it is.
JR. Thank goodness. Oh, that was going to bug me for the rest of the show. Yeah,
Speaking
and that's
of
the
show.
fourth thing you need to know is Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross are the best commentary duo to ever exist.
Okay,
Hands
I've
down.
taken all these notes, written them down, and I'm gonna keep them in the back of my mind as I learn more.
Definitely.
I feel like
If
he's lying to us,
we
but
will
that's
go
okay.
through an afternoon, watch some videos, check out some matches. We'll show you the highlights.
Excellent. Sounds like a plan.
Yes. One day you will have a
Alright.
favorite wrestler, and it may or may not be Randy Orton.
Better not be Randy.
Okay, so that's enough about an entirely different medium of fandom. Let's get into the whole reason we're here, and I guess that's comic books. But first off, some honorable mentions, if Josh, you would not mind telling us about what we've got this week.
Sure, we have a whopping 2 honorable mentions I'm bringing to the table this week. First, Batman Spawn. So awesome. It felt just like reading comic books like back when Image first started. So awesome at the beginning of this was completely sarcastic. I feel like McFarlane has
Thank God, because I nearly fainted. I was like, you can't be fucking serious. Like, we disagree on a lot, make no mistake, but I thought you'd at least be in my corner on this.
Oh, 100%, man. His writing style has not grown whatsoever since
Oh,
way back
it's
in.
like, I couldn't believe how bad it was.
Yeah.
I think it's actually gotten
I
worse.
couldn't even finish this because
Nope.
to
Yeah.
be fair, I was reading it in bed at 10:30 at night, but I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Normally I wake up
It's-
and finish the book, but I fell asleep.
Oh, I don't blame
just
you.
flipping through pages. It was just
And
what the hell was going on?
with him on the inks, I can't help but wonder if that's why, while I was looking at some of these panels, I'm like, there's no way Greg Capullo drew this.
No,
But
yeah, it's not his usual
Yes.
inker. Yeah,
yeah,
that's why. And I'm glad you
yep,
noticed that too. Because
yeah,
I
100%
love
his best
Todd.
work.
I love Todd. Make no mistake, the Todd father is one of the best people that I have never met, but
The Todd
is
Father.
always entertaining to watch and
that's
hear
what we
about.
call it.
But he has, let's just say that his art has changed a lot in recent times, and it's been a while since he's been inking stuff that is not his, and I think it shows. Though he's always been like that. If you go and look at old pieces of art that Todd McFarlane inks, you will know that it's Todd McFarlane because he has a very heavy hand, and it sort of transforms the art into his, which I think is hilarious
Yeah.
because people accuse him of having a giant ego, and his art is literally the embodiment of that. But that's why
Yes,
people love him.
indeed.
Anyway,
I mean, he does have massive talent.
yes, and in his
Yeah.
prime, absolutely phenomenal. Make no mistake. Artistically speaking, writing, it's like
It's about the same.
just yeah, just read it for yourself. Like I don't even have to
Look,
say
Yeah.
anything. Just
Or
try
don't.
and read
No.
the book.
If reading McFarlane from like back in the '90s sounds like your cup of tea, then go ahead and grab it. Otherwise, this is definitely one that you could skip. Um, Harley Quinn Uncovered, man. Now I love art, and I really like Harley Quinn. Love her in the right creative team's hands. This book is freaking gorgeous. So much
Good.
beautiful art. There was just a little itty bitty tiny piece of Rosmo, and then the rest of it was gorgeous. And thank you, DC, for that. Most of this is poster worthy. I'm super happy with it. So if you're into that kind of thing, I suggest it. That one I definitely am.
Yeah, with
That's
even
all
like
there
a
is.
tiny bit of story involved with Harley with some word bubbles, really just
Yes, so.
revisiting her own life. It was really cool to see. There's a lot of interesting art.
Yep, a lot of good stuff. A lot of stuff I forgot, and then I want to say there was some new things too.
Yeah, I think there's some stuff for like upcoming issues and whatnot. All right, so that was our honorable mentions of the week. Very short and sweet. Speaking of short and sweet, let's get into some quick bites. First off, Wildcats. Brandon is going to tell us what that team is doing now. The covert action team, is that what they're called now, or is that the old?
Or Crisis Ave team, I think, is the updated terminology. But
Oh, okay.
wow, that sounded really nerdy. I don't know why I said it like
Well,
that, like I'm Jerry
I mean,
Lewis.
that
Crisis
only
Ave
lasts
team is
for
the
one
updated
issue, though, eh?
terminology for the lexicon of the Y. I don't know why it came out like that. It sounded really funny. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Yes, this is Wildcats #2. This issue was written by Matthew Rosenberg with art from Steven Segovia, colors from Elmer Santos, and letters from Farron Delgado. After the second failed mission to capture a geneticist from the Halo Corporation and the discovery of the Court of Owls, the Wildcats are scrambling to figure out what to do next. Marlowe believes that the Owls likely aren't a threat and shouldn't be pursued, but after the Owls attempt his assassination, he begins to think differently. When news of the Wildcats goes public, however, Marlowe must shift his strategy completely and decides to finally unveil his heroes to the public. Introducing the official heroes of the Halo Corporation, the 7 Soldiers of Victory, question mark, question mark. Really fun. I still am
Say
having a great time with this
what?
series. Yeah, I know. Didn't see that one coming. But yeah, no, I'm still having a really great time with this series, and the art is great. I think the colors are really stand out. It's helping the pencils in particular pop. But just a fun ride all around. And I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly that's going to work because I don't get the impression that the original 7 Soldiers of Victory trademarked their name. So it's not like the Halo Corporation can get sued by the actual 7 Soldiers of Victory. That being said, I can't imagine the actual 7 Soldiers of Victory are going to be happy that the Halo Corporation is trying to, move in on their name, but we'll see. But aside from that, really fun issue. So I gave this one an 8.25 out of 10.
It's,
They
what
already
an
had a run-in with Green Arrow, so
That's true. That's true.
he might just show up and be like, dudes, what the hell?
I was
That's
like,
my
what the
team.
fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one hell of an interesting team that they've pulled together.
Yeah.
Both cool and curious. They're, I mean, okay, so I'm really, it's got me flummoxed. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. Dr. Ivo, Dr. Marvo, or Morrow, excuse me, Dr. Stagg, Dr. Stone, and Doctors Shelley and Shelley from Task Force Z, the Immortal Man's kids. What in God's name could they possibly be doing with all of those people? Plus Nora Freeze and Deathblow is a girl.
Yeah. A lot going on.
There's a lot going on, man. It's pretty crazy. Hell of a great art, hell of a great story. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, the Seven Soldiers was definitely quite the twist. You guys said I did not see it coming either. This book is continuing to impress me. I know we're only 2 issues in, but I was going to say with every issue, and I assume, I envision that it will continue to impress me going forward. This is very cool. 8.75 out of 10.
Nice.
Righteous.
As a final thing, because this is quick bite, so we need to move quick. $100 is my offer to the person who, okay, maybe not that much. Let's say $10 is probably how much these people are worth. $10 to the person who can name every single member of the 7 Soldiers of Victory on that final splash page. I think I have 3,
I think I could name 1.
but there are some that even I don't entirely recognize. Yeah, $10 is my offer to the person who can do that. So if you want to claim your money, you know where to find me. All right.
I mean,
what do we got next?
There's a chance that some of them might be original characters.
It's true.
Maybe.
But most of them I feel
wrong.
are pretty recognizable. Or I feel like I've seen them before, I just don't know their names because they're very forgettable.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I see V-Dude, 82 Man, Starfiretron.
V-Dude? Yes. I think V-Dude is much better than Majestic, but, that's just me.
And 82 Man, his ever faithful sidekick.
Yes, yeah. All right, what do we got next, Rob?
You never said it had to be the right names.
That's true. That is true. Yes.
All right, so we are going to go from a WildC.A.T.S to Batgirls. I got nothing with this one. That was so bad. It's Batgirls.
It's sitting right in front of you.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was slowly getting to that point, but I was like, I already lost it. Anyway, so we're at Batgirls now. This is written by Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad with art, colors, and letters. He's a busy guy from Jonathan Case. I did not realize until I was writing it all down that they were all done by one person. But the cover, which is a very nice looking cover, I might add, by Jorge Corona and Sarah Stern. So very simply put, Steph Cass has an awkward dinner with Shiva, while Cass Steph has an awkward car ride with Cluemaster, and Babs starts working with Bruce to figure out this coin that caused the Freaky Friday situation, and they end up tracing it back to Madame Zodiac, who reveals that the wish that was granted by the 2 Batgirls was worded in a way so that it only lasts 24 hours. Those 24 hours just so happen to end, leaving Cass and Steph in front of their respective parents, seemingly unknowing what to do next. Except for Cass, who knows to go find Steph, because she's in a lot of danger. So I'm really digging this. This follow-up from the annual, which started this new story arc, is a lot of fun. The art is interesting, and I think the balance dynamic between the 2 girls is great. More of this, please. I'm loving this. I think I say this every time there's a new issue. For me, it took a while to find its stride once they got past the fear state nonsense. But once they did that, found its stride, and it's exactly what I've been looking for. 8.75 out of 10.
Yeah, no, this series definitely continues to be very fun, coming hot off the heels of a really stellar annual. Well, I mean, stellar, but lots of fun there as well. And I think, um, well, I hope that it's going to keep this energy. Might be more appropriate to say. Moving forward, I said it before. I'm not like overly thrilled about Steph doing yet another run in with Cluemaster and Cass doing yet another run in with Lady Shiva. I feel like they've kind of done that to death, but I can give it a pass here, given that they're in a new status quo and maybe they want to see how their relationships have changed given their new status. I don't know, but it's not something I'm really incredibly excited to see because I feel like everything has kind of been said in regards to that relationship. Let's just move forward.
Yeah.
But no, aside from that, lots of fun, like Rob was saying, and it feels like the book has definitely found its footing. Although there are some moments that are still a little kind of cringy, but I can move past those at least and just kind of focus in on the character moments that I really like. So yeah, this one got an 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Oh yeah. For me, most of the art was okay. I felt like the dialogue, while they are decidedly getting better with the Batgirls, I don't know. I feel like the dialogue in and around Bruce seemed a little, I don't know, stiff, I guess. But the story is still pretty interesting where it goes from here. I mean, the body swap stuff seemed pointless, but interesting where it's going now. Overall, not bad. Gave it a 7 out of 10.
Fair enough.
And from one bat to another, I guess I will pick up the next book.
Right on.
Forgive me while I possibly stumble through this one a little bit because I wrote it out like it was a full review. I won't read it like it is one though. Written by Ed Brisson, inside and out. The art came from John Timms with Rex Locus on colors and lettering from Clayton Cowles. This is Batman Inc. Oh shit, what number is it?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Good looking out, bro. Uh, Without missing a beat of the action, we pick up with Ghost Hunter waking on one of the doctors trying to get them to fix Sky Spider, and Batman of China is there to pretty much play errand boy for anything the doctor needs. But the premise of this book is basically the origin story that Phantom One is giving to Clown Hunter. Apparently Phantom One's parents were super bad dudes. Ghostmaker killed them. That's when they found out. That's when he found out that they had kid, which he adopted. And then he heard about Jason Todd dying, so he wanted to raise a better Robin, who ended up going through the exact same shit Jason Todd did, trying to prove himself and getting himself killed, or seemingly killed, and then coming back to life. After that, in Shanghai, Ghost Hunter's trying to track down Clown Hunter, and he realizes that his whole team is in danger. And that is the book. Yeah, it's got fantastic art. I loved every single line, every shadow, every palette. Totally top notch stuff here. And I think that the story is fun as hell too. Even if I'm sitting here wondering where the hell Phantom One gets his money to afford a jet and the gas for it. But whatever, man. It's a great time. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, I definitely also had a lot of fun with this one. It's not often that you get really stellar origins, but it's nice when you have one that's concise, effective, and really just like gets to the heart of it, which I felt like it did here.
It feels
And
appropriate.
yeah, and was really able to, I guess, pick up some of the threads of DC continuity. This kind of taking place after the death of Jason Todd, but use it in its own way. It's not just like, oh, remember this, but it's almost like just casually tossed out. Like, yeah, I was basically only created to, satisfy this guy's ego because his other Robin died, which is horrifying when you say it like that. But it's a nice way to kind of pick up on some of the continuity threads and not have it be overindulgent, which I thought was really nice. And the art from Rex Locus, I think, continues to impress. Honestly, might be his best stuff. He's really come a long way since the Young Justice days. I feel like I keep saying that, but it's true. So really solid stuff here, and I'm actually like really looking forward to the next couple of issues and seeing how this all builds. So this one got an 8.25 out of 10 for me.
So as interesting as this story has been, quite honestly, I'm kind of waiting for a new story already because I feel
Uh-oh.
Ghostmaker being a dick in his past, for me, is quickly becoming an old trope. And I just want to see something new from the character. They've since his inception, they've slowly been trying to give him some character growth because the whole idea of an asshole type of Batman has been done before many times. So it's very simple to get into the whole shtick of Ghostmaker, especially that we've been through Zdarsky's Batman the Knight. You get that whole history. You get to see him as a kid with Bruce training together, so that's good. But now, right off the bat, give him some character growth and watch him change. But it's not happening quickly enough for me. It's been a couple of years he's been around, and it doesn't feel like much has really changed from him. He's still just a dick. I'm waiting for something new. That might be a bit of an awkward opinion for me, but it's what I'm feeling.
No, it's how you feel.
Still, the art's
Yeah.
really good. I'm still liking the story. 8.5 out of 10.
You got enough
think-
hive mind.
I think what you're saying is accurate and appropriate, but I also think that with this introduction of Phantom One, we're going to be seeing a lot of change with Ghostmaker, or at least that's just what I'm assuming. But definitely
I
still a
hope you're
decent
right.
book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you end up giving it?
8.5 out of 10.
Not bad.
It just felt weird to me that they set up this whole story with Lex Luthor and other laboratories, and then all of a sudden we just jump into a completely different story without finishing that one first. And this whole thing is Batman Inc., but is reading like just a Ghostmaker book. I don't know, it's really weird. I like it, but it's weird. I don't know. I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's only issue 3.
Yeah. All right, we've been going for a little under an hour now, so I think we might just take a commercial break now, and then we'll jump into our spotlight and then full reviews after the break. Stay tuned to us, Not a Robot. And we're back. Thank you for sticking with Not a Robot. I know you wouldn't go anywhere. Who else are you going to listen to? Robots? Those losers. So we are now getting into our spotlight reviews. Josh is slowly falling to pieces. Yeah, those robots are such losers. Okay, so we are now getting into our spotlight reviews, starting off with a brand new #1, which tends to be the case with this series. But this is another big one from Tom King, and that is Danger Streets.
Danger.
I know I changed that. It should be Danger Zone. I thought that would hit. Try to do an Archer reference.
Swing and a miss.
Didn't quite work in my mind. Yeah, that's fine. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Exactly.
Michael Scott. Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. So as I said, this is written by Tom King with art from Jorge Fornes, colors from Dave Stewart, and letters from Clayton Cowles. So I am going to kind of describe this in a bit of a different way because this book does tend to jump around a lot, like once every 1 or 2 pages, and there's a lot of players. So I'll just kind of go through their individual stories briefly. We start off with the 4 lads of Danger Street, the little kids riding an ATV through the streets and run into who they are calling Lady Cop, who is a police officer in town who seems to know the children very well, pulls them over for riding their ATV through the streets, even though they're just on the way to the nearby desert, I imagine, a very sandy area. And they're trying to get there as quickly as they can so they can just drive around. They do eventually end up there, and one of the boys ends up feeling a little nauseous and sick and ends up getting off, while the other three boys drive off and have some fun and go back to pick him up later. Meanwhile, the creeper of all people in another town is chasing some guy through the streets and beats him to a bloody pulp. Later on, the alter ego, who I believe, if I remember his name, is Jack Ryder.
Jack Ryder. Yep.
Is cleaning himself up and is getting his next gig up in line to be on the air, because the last gig he had kind of let him go. But he has a lead thanks to his agent, a new network that is national in another city, is looking to meet up with him, and he heads there toot sweet. Meanwhile, in a diner, Starman and Warlord of all people, and remind me, which Starman is this? I
Mikhail
forget.
Thomas.
There's been like 15.
Mikhail Thomas.
Kyle Tom. Okay.
Yeah, this was, I believe, the second Starman, and this is a lot of this history is covered in James Robinson's Starman. But
Okay.
you can always just remember Mikhail is the blue one who has like orange hair.
Yeah, this was the same Starman that was in the Justice League of America for a brief period, right? Before
Yes, and that
Flashpoint.
would, that would make sense because James Robinson wrote that book.
Yeah, I was
I think
thinking
he's the
that
only
too,
one that
yeah.
cared about the character. Yeah, he didn't create him; he
Yeah.
just was the only one who cared, I guess.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
Alright, so they are there together waiting for a person who is none other than Metamorpho, but Metamorpho is missing an arm. Was tasked with retrieving a mysterious object, and he has it, but not with him because it came out of a salt shaker.
Mhm.
And how are you going to carry that with you? It's really weird.
Very careful.
Because I didn't think Metamorpho could teleport. I thought he just could change his matter, but that's neither here nor there. It is in a car parked outside, and he promises the two men that it is safe. Meanwhile, on some other place altogether, which is not really described very well, Manhunter, the original Manhunter, who, oh god, his name is just now escaping me. Oh god.
Mark Shaw.
He is, yeah, something Shaw.
Mark.
Jack?
I don't know if he's the
Shaw.
Manhunter. I got to double check because I think there was a Manhunter in the like 40s or something, but I don't remember his.
But this
But Mark Shaw was the Manhunter in the 70s, and well, we'll get to that later. But anyway,
I'm pretty
makes
sure
sense
this
as
is Mark Shaw.
Yeah.
So Manhunter has been tasked with hunting some men of all people, believe it or not. Kind of out of character for Manhunter, but we'll go with it. However, the hunt he is about to take is actually children of all people. And those children are the 4 children that were driving around the ATV earlier. I think they were just called the Danger Street Gang or Danger Street Boys.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Metamorpho, Starman, and Warlord are... Hey?
I said the Dingbats of Danger Street.
Dingbats, thank you. So Metamorpho, Warlord, and Starman are driving a convertible through the desert, the same desert the 4 boys are in, to go to a very secluded area with their newly found object, which is in a bowling bag of all things. And this object is none other than the Helm of Fate. That is Dr. Fate's helmet, if that was not obvious enough. Meanwhile, Jack Ryder is doing his audition for the new network, and it seems to be going well. But he kind of gets a bit of a weird vibe at the end because they kind of just stop him abruptly. He leaves and is told he could be called later on once the people upstairs, the head honchos, get a chance to review his tape. Lady Cop is playing poker with another cop and has a bit of a weird vibe about some stuff going on. And the Helm of Fate is now in the desert, sitting on a rock because it keeps tipping over in the sand as the 3 men begin to perform a spell to summon none other than Darkseid. And that whole shtick is so they can imprison Darkseid in the Helm of Fate, and that means they will be invaded into the Justice League. Big dreams, my friends. Big dreams indeed. Jack Ryder then gets a bit of a call to come back to the studio, but it's across town and he has 20 minutes to get there. So he transforms his creeper alter ego and heads there very quickly. The three men open the doorway to Darkseid, but instead somebody else comes out, and that somebody else instantly shatters Metamorpho, who had turned himself into glass, or no, diamond, to protect himself and try and stand up against this hulking beast. But this man shattered Diamond instantly. Starman gets in the way and tries to put the man down, but fails. So Warlord grabs a sword and stabs him through the back all the way through the chest, killing him instantly. Starman is just in shatters, just like Metamorpho, but he's more shattered the fact that Metamorpho was shattered. Meanwhile, the boy from the Dingbats of Danger Street has appeared, feeling a little bit better, but he's freaked out by all the unnecessary violence and asks if everything is okay, which Starman is freaked out by, fires a blast at him right through the chest, and the boy seems to be dead. Meanwhile, Jack Ryder is meeting with the mysterious head honchos of the corporation, and it turns out to be none other than the Dingbats of Danger Street, albeit a little bit older, who are now the Green Team, millionaires, teen millionaires, with, I believe, Vigilante in the background. If I'm right, I think that's Vigilante. I could not tell, actually. They don't name him. He kind of just sits there in the darkness.
Yes. Minor correction. The Green Team are not actually the Danger Street kids. They are a separate organization. But again, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, but I think I figured they were separate, but I think I do remember seeing in this issue somewhere the Green Team being mentioned.
Yes, no, those kids are the Green Team. They're just they're the two groups of kids. Yeah, they're not the Dingbats grown up. It's all good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history here, but we'll get into that later. But we gotta.
Wait, are you so you're saying this first. Green Team is not the Dingbats of Danger Street, or
no,
just the original?
No.
Oh, because honestly, could have fooled me. They look just like them. Which was impressive to me. And that is where our players have been left off. Everybody's kind of freaking out. The other three boys have come back to find the friend and find him dead in the sand. So they call the lady cop. She's on the way, and the Helm of Fate, who has been telling the whole story in a very fairy tale-esque kind of way, claims to be continued, and we'll see what happens next. So it's a hell of a ride. So I've said in the past, for me, Tom King is hit or miss when it comes to his stories. Either it's an amazing piece of fiction, or it's just a very lengthy, wordy, nonsensical dribble, like Rorschach was. For me, though, this looks to be a Tom King hit. I think this is going to be a really good one. It may have jumped all over the place, which is something I don't like in my comic books, but I think that definitely helped the story this time instead of hurting it, because you get to see, when you have so many players on the field, and you got to give them all their time to shine, especially in what seems to be maybe different time periods, and you're building this big mystery, jumping around is necessary. And I think it was really well done. There's a varied and storied collection of cast members here, making this also a fun book. I cannot wait to see what's in store here. This mystery is intense. It's so intense, I don't even know what the mystery is yet, but there's definitely a mystery. I think it all revolves around the Helm of Fate, but why? Honestly, 9 out of 10. I really dug this issue. It was really good.
No, this is going to be a very fascinating one, and you'll forgive me because I have to give a bit of a brief history lesson, as you know I want to do. So the context behind this book, for some who may be confused, is all of these characters came from a series that DC did in the 70s called First Issue Special, which was essentially just that. It was a bunch of first issues featuring new characters to just kind of try it out and see, like, hey, is anyone interested? So Green Team, Dingbats, Manhunter, Creeper, all of them essentially had their first issues. I don't think all of them debuted in these series because some I think might have come a little earlier. Like Metamorpho, I think had been a character since the '60s, but this was just an attempt to kind of throw everything at the wall and see what stuck, and see if anyone might be willing to support one of these characters. And it's actually a very interesting concept. But if you go and read those books, they're terrible because a lot of them are done by names that might be familiar. Atlas and I believe the Dingbat story is done like by Jack Kirby. The Warlord story is done by Mike Grell, and Warlord actually would get a series later, which I find funny. The Creeper story has art from Steve Ditko, right? So it's people that are familiar. Green Team was a Joe Simon book. Joe Simon, Captain America, obviously. But these are I think, as King said in an interview, these are works that are clearly not their best, right? So they're kind of just were hired to do something and see if maybe it would take off into something else. And the high concept for the book was, what if you took all the characters from first issue special and just threw them in one world, in one giant connected story, and see what might happen, which I think is an incredible idea. And it's what King sells at, is taking these minor forgotten characters and trying something new with them. And with a team like the Dingbats or the Green Team, or even someone like Lady Cop or Atlas, who maybe have 3 or 4 appearances total in their entire catalog, it's the perfect time to try and give them a little bit of a reinvention. So already the high concept is something that's great, but I think what's really going to sell this series is the mystery at the core of it, which is connected to the New Gods and all the Fourth World stuff, which is great because the 13th issue in the first issue special before it was canceled was the return of the New Gods, because after Kirby had left DC, the characters were just kind of sitting there until this series came along and brought them back proper, and then they were forgotten again. But there's a whole other history to that as well. The point is, I think it's almost like taking history and turning it into a story, which I guess history is, because it's just stories themselves. But it's taking these characters and trying to weave it into a grander story, even though all of them were completely disconnected, which I think is just a lovely idea. So I'm totally in love with it right from the concept, and I think King has done a really solid job trying to build up the greater mystery, but also trying to juggle a whole different cast of characters, which is a lot. I think he said there are like some 22 or 25 characters involved here, which is crazy to me. But it's ambitious, and there's no telling whether or not it will entirely land. But I'm hopeful for this one, and I hope it does something really special with a bunch of characters that otherwise would have been completely forgotten. Maybe not the Dingbats, because I think some people have shown an affinity for them because they're Kirby characters, and people love Kirby characters, especially the kid gangs that he would do. But my hope is that it lands fairly well and tells a good grand story. So this one also got a 9 out of 10 for me. I think really the high concept was just the thing that sold me right from the beginning.
Right on. A2, Josh.
Well, I made it to page 9 before I put it down. Waited a few more hours, then it picked it back up. Got to 16 before I quit. Third sitting, I finally got all the way through it. This was so exceptionally fucking boring. I'm so over Tom King. Every fucking book he writes is the same. The caption boxes, the intentionally boring narrative, 9 panels, everything dragging feet from one to another. Make sure that it's spread out in a million different directions so no one really pays attention that there is ultimately nothing really going on. I'm over Tom King. He's so overrated. 4 out of 10.
Damn.
This is just
I
the
will
epitome.
admit.
Batman, Rorschach. I mean, you're gonna let him touch stuff like Dr. Fate, like Metamorpho. I mean, fuck that. I'm done. Tom King. I can't even read it. I can't read it.
I will
He's
admit I
just
was not
that
expecting
bad.
that.
Nope. You were not expecting that? This book was horrible.
Well then, you heard it here, folks. Different strokes for different folks, or whatever the saying goes. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So that will take us next to Dark Crisis Big Bang #1. We saw a lot of characters in one issue. Danger Street, we're going to see a lot of characters in this book too. Brandon is going to fill us in on the new map of the DC universe going forward.
Yeah, that we are, or yes, we are going to see a lot of characters, and I will fill you in on every single Earth because it's a long chart. So I would advise you. Well, I'll get into that later, but anyway, Dark Crisis Big Bang #1 was written by Mark Waid with art from Dan Jurgens and Norm Ratmond, colors from Federico Blee, and letters from Troy Peteri. Barry Allen is on the hunt for the missing Anti-Monitor in this tie-in to Dark Crisis. Tracking him down to Earth 28, Barry keeps him on the ropes as they travel from Earth to Earth before the Anti-Monitor gets the upper hand and land on Earth 17. Fortunately for Barry, Wallace rallied the troops from various Earths to help him in the fight. They plan to push the Anti-Monitor back into the antimatter universe and succeed, with Barry making the final sacrifice. Accepting that he will likely die again, Barry makes the final push, but is saved before he can fall into the antimatter universe with the Anti-Monitor. As their multiversal friends depart following the battle, Barry and Wallace speed off with more multiversal adventures awaiting in the wings. In addition to the main story, we also get a chart, I guess you could say, or a list of all the updated Earths in the new multiverse, or I guess the now established multiverse, however you want to refer to it. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's a long list, and we don't need to. My advice for you would be to just pick up the issue and find it for yourself. But that being said, there are some interesting revelations within the list that I'm sure we will talk about briefly before we get into our main reviews, because I know we don't want to spend too much time on it. That being said, it was really nice reading this one. I mean, you know, I think we can all agree that we're definitely more fans of Wally than Barry. Well, I don't want to speak for anyone else. But it's kind of nice seeing, you know, a Barry-centric role. It's been a while, and I think Mark Waid captures the voice of Barry Allen that I kind of prefer to hear, which is he's not stoic, but he's not, you know, a hopeless sad sack. I guess the word I would use is determined. I always saw Barry as the mentor figure. He's like the person that you could default to when you really needed a word of advice, and every time he would pop up, you know, in Wally's Flash, he would be like the point of reference. Like, okay, if I really need someone to go to, I'll think of Uncle Barry, and I think Mark Waid captures that perfectly here. He's like he's on it, knows what he needs to do, is very effective, and he's willing to make the ultimate sacrifice if he needs to. He's the perfect definition of a hero, which some might say is a little too milquetoast, but I think Waid does a solid job of showing, you know, the qualities that make Barry who he is, and doing it well, of course. And a surprise of surprises, it was sort of strange seeing Barry all suited up in his classic suit. To my knowledge, he had been wearing his horrible Jim Lee design costume for a while, but here he's in the classic wingtips and straight belt, and I don't really know why that is, but if that suit's making a comeback, then, you know, freshman year me is going to be very happy because I've been campaigning for that for a while. But no, aside from that, I guess it's just kind of a fun, solid romp, and I guess closes some of the strings for Dark. I'm not really sure when this is taking place exactly, but whenever it is, it seems to be, you know, tying together some of the plot threads from Dark Crisis and cleaning things up. So good job there, I suppose. But no, just a really solid read, kind of fast, and I had a good time with it. So I gave this an 8 out of 10.
honestly a very simple story, but very cool to see. I'm excited about all the worlds to explore, including that one world. I think it was the second to last one on the list. Are we thinking Amalgam will make a return? I think probably not,
I, it
but that
was
would be very
the
cool.
clever wink and nod towards it, yes, but whether or not it will actually
Yeah.
return is entirely up to politics way above our control. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
unfortunately.
a lot of money involved in that shit. Now.
Yeah. I mean, one day, who knows? It could happen.
possibly.
And sorry, I just in case I missed it, do you pinpoint something about deceased?
Yes, yeah, they talk about they call them zombies, even though I think Taylor had said somewhere in these that they technically weren't zombies, they're infected by the anti-life, but yes, it's also theirs.
Okay. I guess I did my usual just, ooh, what's this Earth? Okay, it's over here. What's this Earth? Okay, it's over here. Looking at the
Yes,
list.
yeah.
And you do see, and let me actually pull up the numbers because I don't quite remember which number was which.
These number of
Uh,
things.
oh my god. There was a panel featuring characters from Deceased in within the story when they were jumping through all the different worlds.
Yeah, they
Cool.
designate it as I have the list in front of me. They designate it as Earth
Yeah.
55, but it's in one of the scenes as well. But yeah, I mean all
But
the
on
a lot of the stuff is in here. You can just assume that if it's not mentioned, it's probably in the multiverse.
well, no, the thing is, they in the panel they deem it as Earth 49, but actually that is not Earth
Oh
49
my God! Wait, I
on
didn't
your
see
list.
that.
It
Rob, I'm so
is
proud of you.
actually Earth
Eagle-eyed
55.
Rob. Oh my God!
That's what I've been trying to find with the numbers.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually,
You are the actually guy now. I need to pass my gut and my crown over to you.
I've been waiting all week to say actually.
Actually, you need a pair of light gray
Yeah.
sweatpants now.
Mhm.
I'm
Sorry,
wearing dark
one moment.
gray
I'll be right
sweatpants.
back.
Does that count? I actually have light gray sweatpants. If I remember my Marvel correctly, a find like that would net me a no prize. And damn it, I want one.
You get a no prize. You get no prize for knowing it. It's a no
I
prize.
have wanted one my entire freaking life from when I was a kid, and I saw in the letters boxes, people were like, "Hey, you made a mistake here," and okay, you win a no prize. Like, I want a no prize. That sounds so cool. I finally got one unofficially.
Right?
Unofficially.
Unofficially. It
Yeah.
counts, damn it.
Uh,
Did you give a score for
Alright,
this
so
one?
yeah, that's no, I haven't completely finished my review yet. But that was basically the end. But I'm just excited about what's gonna happen going forward. There are a couple of worlds omitted that I could have sworn were mentioned in the solicitation a few months back, or at least in various variant covers, such as like the White Knight series, among others. There was a couple of other Earths that were not mentioned, which I'm surprised at that they were not included.
You mean within the panels? Or
even in the list at
list?
the end? Batman White Knight's not mentioned from what I remember seeing.
Mm.
I believe it was even Nathan that brought it up that two variant books, two Elseworld titles from recent years were not included in the list for some reason.
All right. Well,
Which I
I
found
am
kinda
definitely. I'm not seeing White Knight, and of course, I trust Nathan on his lists for sure.
Definitely,
There's one thing that boy knows. It's his lists. But yeah, I don't see White Knight. What's the other one that's missing? Do you happen to know?
Not off the top of my head, but if I go to his message, I might be able to find it.
Also, I want to
Just
know
give me a quick
what
minute.
is I want to know what's going on in that image behind the list.
Oh, Aquaman Andromeda as well is not listed, which is very surprising.
Aquaman
I
Andromeda.
assume there are others that, you know, if they're not here, they're probably out there somewhere. It says that Barry is still charting this list, so we can assume that
Yeah.
this is an incomplete complete version. So it's not the end all be all. It's it's like what he's cataloged so far. But the impression I got is a lot of the Elseworld style books that we have now that have been out are a part of this new multiverse, which sounds about right. So anything from
like
Batman the Knight to Andromeda to Rogues to whatever, like they're all somewhere out.
Looked like he managed to get to go in order for quite a while, and then it starts bouncing around. So, yeah, I think I'm with Brandon on that one. This one is an incomplete list, but again, I am really curious about that image behind the list.
Yeah, that is the map of the multiverse from
Multiversity, yeah.
From Grant Morrison, which now realistically is an outdated map because there's a lot more than 52 Earths.
Well, right. I'm just wondering if that is perhaps an updated image in any way underneath there.
No, it's pretty much the same.
From what I can tell, anyway, it doesn't look like it. Because there's still a couple of Earths there that have question marks, which were not explored.
Fair enough. But as far as the book goes, the art's pretty damn good. A couple of little issues. Overall, it's just great. Seeing the different worlds we all know exist out there was pretty cool. An unusual Justice League from all over these multiple Earths that Wallace gets for backup against the Animonitor. It was pretty cool, especially the Earth 32 ones. I think those are cool. And am I crazy, or did I just forget that lightning bolt that's in Wallace's hair? Is that new, or has that always been there?
No.
I think that was around at least since his time on Teen Titans.
Rebirth. Yeah.
Wow, how have I never noticed it before? Anyway, they got me right up and they got me with that whole Barry thing. I thought, well, that's what they're going to do with them. But finally, the incomplete notes yet detailed Brandon style from Barry. It's got me both excited and worried. There's some really, really cool ones on here. There's some not great ones. I happen to see Earth 3 is still on there. But all in all, I did not hate it. It was a very quick, nice one-shot read of a story to get the multiverse notes, to get to the multiverse notes, I mean. I'm okay with it. It was a fun read. Nothing really wrong with it. Probably the best Dark Crisis tie-in that I've read yet. Out of all of them, for sure. Yeah. And I gave it an 8 out of 10.
In case I didn't give a score, 8.5 out of 10 for me. I can agree. It was definitely a fun read. I'm kind of apprehensive to call it an actual Dark Crisis tie-in because there wasn't really. It's more like Dark Crisis Aftermath.
Yeah,
that's all there is for that one.
Yeah, but next week it's the last issue of Dark Crisis.
Yep.
Me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah. Brandon?
I can hear you.
Can you hear either of us?
Type into you in
hello?
Discord.
I'm here. Brandon?
I don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear
Hello?
me, Brendan?
I can hear you, Rob.
Oh, okay.
You hear me? Okay, I see. We have lost him.
Yeah. Hello,
No.
Joshua.
What the shit?
That's not good.
Oh, okay. There we are.
Oh, you're back. Good.
Ah, jeez. What a pain in the ass. That was weird.
Well, yeah, that was weird. Um,
Dang.
okay, where were we?
I just
Yes.
finished
Okay.
my.
Yeah, just finished our Grace Big Bang.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that was the Big Bang.
Oh.
Wasn't much of a
No,
bang. I guess the Big Bang is big banging the rest of the Earth's back into continuity. It's a really weird title, but I like scientifically get it. I don't know. I
Dark
could think
Crisis
about it all
Caboom.
night and never understand.
That's what it should have been called.
Sorry.
Dark Crisis Kaboom.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into our full dive reviews of ongoing books, starting with none other than I Am Batman. But not me, Jace. Jace is Batman. I am not Batman. I am Green Lantern. Hear me roar. So this is written by John Ridley with art from Christian Duce, colors from Rex Locus, and letters from Troy Pateri. We open on a business intern assistant type person being randomly killed in the streets, and that person was none other than Tanya Fox's assistant, very close to her, and someone she actually had follow her to New York from Gotham, so she blames herself for his death. Um, Lucius has shown up to be there for his wife and for the whole family and see if he can help make things better. Jace and not Tam. Oh my god, I always get their names confused. Oh god, what's his little sister's name?
Tamara.
Tamara.
Tamara. Yeah, Tam.
But
Robin.
then there's Tam, who is the older sister.
No, Tam is his soon to be sidekick.
I don't know. Okay, that's I'm getting confused with these two. I gotta brush up on my Fox family history, man. Okay, so Tam and Jace are talking on the balcony, where they kind of reveal that they know each other's secret identities and know that the others, that each other have been uh, going out in costume and fighting crime. Uh, Neither of them, Tiff, yeah, okay. Um, so yeah, the neither are particularly happy that the other one is going out in costume and fighting crime and hiding it from the family, but apparently that is something the Fox family excels at. Meanwhile, at a local, I'm assuming a small business company or small tech firm, whatever, um, there's been a meeting called unexpectedly in the evening, but a gunman comes in and starts mowing down people in the office, leaving this young blonde woman crying to her mother on the phone, thinking she's about to die, but the gun runs out of ammo, so the gunman runs away. Jace, in Batman gear, takes him out very quickly, and before he is captured, ends up shooting himself in the head with the words, "They will pay." Later on, the cops arrive, take the body away, and treat the wounded as they can. But there is not much to go on when it comes to this gunman, as the detectives and Batman are talking after the lone gunman is just a very toxic person with lots of toxic social board history, talking about hating the government, the world's against me, and that usual bag, leading to an eventual suicide. Something unfortunately held up in real world situations. Meanwhile, Lucius and Tanya are talking over, again, stuff going on in their family, and more secrets and lies that are still being kept from the rest of the family that they need to get ahead of now and maybe reveal to the family, but more on that later. Over in Astoria in Queens, a woman is walking her dog but is kidnapped by a windowless van, leaving her dog to just chase after the van after her owner and try and get her back, but fails because the van's just a little bit faster. Vol is met up with Jace in the New York Batcave, I guess that's what they're calling it, to talk about all the crime going on. And Vol has found some mysterious connections between all the crimes being committed recently that Batman has been investigating, and they all are connected to the Fox family. Might just be a coincidence,
supposed to be
but,
calling it
you
the
know.
Helix, by the way. It's
The
not supposed to be
oh,
the
okay.
Batcave. It's
Oh,
supposed to
yep.
be the Helix.
No, I did forget they were calling it the Helix. That's right. All right, so this woman is then seen in a very run-down room. It looks like a house that is pretty much abandoned. The kidnappers are not willing to kill her yet, but she does say, "You're doing this because of him, aren't you?" And the man says, "Yeah, because somebody's got to pay." Who is that, you ask, Josh? Well, we will find out soon. Later on, Hadia and Jace are talking on some stone steps where Jace is basically just opens up completely, confesses his love for her, but she's just not ready for that at the time because she's really busy. She's got a lot of stuff going on, and so does he. It's not the right time. Later on, Jace and Lucius are talking over some stuff about how Jace is Batman and just not sure if he's really cutting it. And Lucius is trying to perk him up a bit, but then Tam, oh my god, I gotta brush up on my Fox family history.
Hold on.
Comes out and
Tanya is the mom. Tanya is the mom. Tiffany is the
Tanya
older
is the mom.
sister, and Tamara is the younger sister.
Okay, the thing that's confusing me earlier is that Tanya was calling the older sister Tam.
Well, that's not how it's supposed to go. I'm not crazy, am I? Am I crazy?
That's why I was confused. I keep wanting to call the younger sister Tam too, but then I see Tanya calling the older sister Tam. So that's where my confusion is. So, okay, we'll go with Tiff for now. The one with the cane, who was kidnapped before, asks that Jace, I was going to say Dad, Jace and Lucius to come quick. There is a stream going on where the kidnappers are talking about the Fox family and how they are the targets and how they need to basically pay them $10 billion in digital currency, or else Lucius's little prince, Jace Fox, is going to find out that they have his mother and they are going to kill her. Despite the fact that Tanya is standing right in front of him, this is where the secret comes out, where Tanya is not actually Jace's mother, and it may or may not be the woman they've kidnapped.
Yeah,
I think
and on
pretty
top
much
of that,
is confirmed it is.
I had the sister's name switched. The younger one is Tiffany. God damn.
Okay, so it wasn't crazy.
Nope.
All right.
Just me getting confused again. That's all.
So I'm not the only one getting confused. I feel better now. All right. So that is where the issue ended. I will admit I did not see that coming. That's a hell of a twist. Uh, God damn, this book is equal parts superhero romp, police procedural mixed with 2 cups of rich family drama. This is the best show CBS never greenlit. Like this is a lot of fun. I wish it was like a weekly TV series because it's so good. And I this is number 16 if I remember correctly. And if I remember from the solicits, there's maybe 2 issues left. And
Yeah,
that's a
that
damn
sucks.
shame.
Oh yeah, and you're
Yeah.
right. I would watch this shit all day long on HBO Max.
Oh hell yeah.
But here's the thing:
This is
I need you
really
to
good.
speed through the first few issues of it,
Mm.
but the rest of it, I want adequately relayed onto the screen and then go from there. But
Yeah.
this shit is the bomb. I fucking love this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. This issue got a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of family moments there. A lot of really good. Like, there's not a lot of action in it. There's a lot of just talking, a lot of word bubbles, a lot of discussions, but they all have meaning. They all have a purpose, and they're all interesting. I love it. It's so good. It's a damn shame this book is ending. Really is.
Yep.
Though what can you do? Unfortunately. Yeah, 9 out of 10 for me. If I didn't say before, what do you guys got? I want to hear your thoughts.
I gave it a 8.5 out of 10. Um, the cover was really good. It says things aren't going quite so well for the Fox family. Inside, that comes pretty clear that it is definitely the case. I felt like a lot of stuff was telegraphed except for that cliffhanger on the end, but that didn't bother me too much. The art was good. The thing is, this thing does have what'd you say? 2 issues left, right?
I believe so.
Say again. You believe
I
so?
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you wrap up a storyline like a terrorist specifically attacking your family and a whole bombshell like Maury, you are not the mother. I mean that 2 issues is not a lot to wrap that up in. Um, but I guess we'll see what happens. I enjoyed it. The art got me down just a tiny bit in some spots, but not too much, man. And I am assuming Brandon did not read this one.
Oh, I did. I just didn't really have much to say, to be honest. I feel like I never for the title. It's okay. It's one that has captured my interest rarely. There have been a couple issues that I thought were better than others, but more often than not, I just find I'm really bored. So, yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm sad to hear that you guys will be upset that it will end at 18, but I'm not really gonna miss it if I'm being honest. So, I've just been very bored with the run so far. The reason I'm reading it is for this show. Otherwise, I would not be reading it.
Oh, fair enough.
I like the story and I like the character, and I just can't help but wonder what the hell's going to happen to Jace Fox, Batman, after this book ends.
Yeah.
Bummer. But in any case, I guess we will move on and we shall forever wonder.
And wonder indeed we shall. So, speaking of wonder, we are going to be looking at Wonder Woman. And Josh is going to give us all the wonderments there.
Indeed, written by Michael W. Conrad and Becky Cloonan, pencils and inks from Manuela Lupacino and Wade Von Grawbadger, respectively. Colors from Jordi Belair and Pat Brazeau on letters with another cover from Yannick Paquette and Nathan Fairbairn, and they continuously are great on this book for the covers. The issue starts with half of Checkmate talking budget until they see the other half of Checkmate starting trouble. Given that we're talking about Siggy and Cheetah, I mean, well, imagine that. Actually, it turns out that they're innocent, though. They were breaking into the International Milk Company. But turns out those folks knew that they were coming. After kicking the hell out of some guards, one says praise Hera, which Cheetah thinks she knows that name. I mean, shouldn't she know the name Hera?
Yeah.
I mean, she should by now. Anyway, the last dude says praise Hera, and then come bubbling out of huge vats of milk come Phobos and Deimos as giant beings of milk, claiming that the gods are back. They change into regular people instead of milk people, merge into one, except they're all Goku with 4 arms, and the three are ready to fight. That's when Diana shows up. There's some super vanilla generic banter, and then Diana tells the other two that they are indeed fighting an avatar, so don't hold back. And they don't. They kill him, or at least the avatar anyway. They race back to DC, where there is a huge fire and stuff, to see an ancient Grecian temple floating in the air. Of course, Diana takes off headfirst into it, starts walking around, and from the shadows, someone says, "Hello, Amazon. Welcome to Herion," and that, which it literally means Temple of Hera. They step forward, and they are Eros. He tries a little sweet talking, trying to get Diana to come over to his side by making a point how fun it would be to make people cower. I don't know where that line of logic came from. Made no sense. Then there's this huge crash, and guess who shows up? Yara Flor. It feels like a cheap story, kind of generic, but what it sets up could be far better than what we have been getting. Except the last time that they got into the Pantheons, it was a holy nightmare. The art is the art is great as always, and I mean always. And I'll say this for the summary: it could be a good setup issue, but strictly because of the writers, I am approaching this cautiously. I am happy to see the phrase Wonder Women as the next title for the next issue. I wish that was a damn series in itself. And at least there is this: the evil psychic milk is finally over. That bumped the score up for me right away. It got a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, this honestly was hard to score for me because there were parts I liked and there were parts I didn't. I don't think the evil milk is quite gone yet.
You shut your dirty mouth.
There's something is gonna bring it back for one more issue. I found Phobos and Deimos to be very lackluster, even though I get that it wasn't actually them. It was really just a figment of their milk imagination.
Milkamation.
Eros showing up was a good question mark twist, if only for an excuse for Yara Flor to appear, because really that's all it seemed like. You gotta tie into the better Wonder Woman book somehow. Wonder Girl, if only that book was still around, but here we are. I don't know. I gave it a 7.75 out of 10. I don't feel right about it. I feel like depending on what page I'm looking at, either should be scored higher or lower, but I'll call it in the middle in terms of where my range is. So 7.75 out of 10. I really enjoyed the art. I think Cheetah's new look is nice. Checkmate themselves are fun. It's the rest of the story.
It's a weird group of people to be calling Checkmate. Siggy, yes, Cheetah, Etta Candy, Steve, and Diana. That's an odd team to be making up. Like, where the fuck is Ollie?
I mean, this is like the 5th iteration of Checkmates. They're starting from the ground up yet again. For all we know, there's 3 other Checkmates right now.
You have a very valid point there, sir. A very valid
What
point.
do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a decent issue. I agree with what you said, Josh. I think this setup could be leading to something better than what we've gotten, which would be nice. I don't hate the idea of Penn trying to, I don't know, I guess restake their claim on Earth, but I don't think we've seen stories like that before, and I don't know that I entirely want to see another story like that. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But aside from that, I didn't really have much to say. Yeah, I don't know. It's decent, I guess. 7.5 out of 10. Um, and yeah, yeah, these are the strangest members of Checkmate. I think the third iteration of Checkmate had like Mirror Master in it. So trust me, you can go a lot weirder. That's
Yeah,
actually a
fair
really
enough.
good run,
Fair
though.
enough.
That's the Greg Recca Checkmate run. Worth your time.
Yeah, definitely gotta check that out. All right, so uh, from one member of the Future State Justice League to another, we're looking at John Kent's final issue. It's Superman, Son of Kal-El, and I'm gonna hand it over once again to Brandon to tell us where he's ending up today.
Yeah, we're wrapping up our little Trinity coverage with Superman Kal-El number 18, our final issue in the series. This was written, of course, by Tom Taylor with art from Ruari Coleman and Kian Tormey, colors from Fajardo Jr., and letters from Dave Sharp. Justice League, with help from John and Superman, rebuild the Kent's house. As they finish it and are given assurances of its safety by Batman, Knights arrive with some news about the new villain Red Sun and his backstory. His parents, who were LexCorp scientists, were developing the Red Sun technology. They were killed, with their son, Luis, blames on Superman and his family. Completed their tech, he plans to get revenge, naturally. Over in Metropolis, an unsuspecting Jimmy Olsen is taken by Red Sin, and a bomb threat is called into the Daily Planet at the same time. Superman and John take care of the evacuation first before John sees the bomb in the building. At the same time, Jimmy's signal watch goes off, so John takes care of the bomb while Clark flies off. John finds that the bomb was not armed and races off to find Jimmy's watch, which has been going on for an unusual amount of time. Suddenly, he powers and crashes to Earth, coming face to face with Red Sin. He shoots John, who miraculously survives, thanks to a bulletproof vest and activates it. John and Red Sin have another pointless fight, and Red Sin is defeated and taken into custody. John attempts to reason with him, but to no avail. John later has a heart-to-heart with his father about not wanting arch enemies, and Clark assures him that Luis just needs someone in his life. Over in Stryker's Island, Lex Luthor appears in Luis's cell and offers to help him, the two working together on the mysterious Project Blackout that will bring down the Kryptonians once and for all. This is the end of the set. Not really. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of pathetic. I don't really have much to say. I don't really have. It's nice, I should say. Um, I know we're getting the adventures of Superman, John Kent coming up after this, but it just feels kind of awkward having the book just end on another storyline. Um, I don't know. Art was okay, and there are some nice moments, but honestly, it's just kind of a weird way to end it, and I'm not really sure how I feel. Especially given that I think Adventures of Superman John Kent is an entirely different story. So this is kind of just the end of this Red Sin story. Like, this is just the end of this book, and then it's going to pick on an entirely different point in John's life. Sorry, there's some near the pool, but anyway, yeah, I don't. It's okay, I guess. It's just kind of sad because this book I think started with much promise and has now just petered out entirely. And I feel hard kind of recommending this book like as a whole, because where it might have started strong and had some good spots here and there, it really just ended kind of weak. So 7.5 out of 10. Actually, no, that's too high. This is 7.25 out of 10.
Oh,
Fair enough.
well, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, those look. The more that I talked about it, the more I was like, yeah, that,
As
Yeah,
see,
I've
the
been
thing
there.
is, I wanna end what I'm saying with, I'm excited to see where this is going, and that's my biggest problem, man. The art looked
Yeah.
fantastic. The story was fun to read. It sets up a whole thing for John. It is super cool. So Red Sin, it's not Metallo like I thought. It's an angsty teenager. So check this though. Red Sin emits red sun radiation. It turns Clark angry with uncontrollable rage and even sometimes hallucinations. Who knows what it's going to do to John? But it has to be solved some way, right? So I think that's where Metallo comes in. He somehow takes the Red Sun shit from Red Sin to get revenge on Luther. And John's belt is cool. I hope that comes back. But where does it go from here? Does it go? Does it carry on into Adventures of Superman? Do we see this shit again, or does this storyline just fucking hang in the air? Um, I want to have faith that it's gonna continue. So um, I'm not letting that affect my score too much because I'm really, really hoping that it's going to continue. But since I don't know, since that question mark is just sitting there blazed all over the place, that does affect it. So it's going to get a 7.75 out of 10 from me. I would have given it an 8.5 if this wasn't the last issue.
I am honestly right there with you guys. It doesn't really feel like a final issue since it technically isn't because we're getting Adventures of Superman in a couple of months, but it is the final issue because it's the end of the book. This new era for Superman is really weird. It's so confusing in a way. Uh, Red Sin really didn't last long despite all the hype going up to it. Maybe there's more to come in Action 1050, considering how it ended with Lex Luthor. Maybe Red Sin will have one more return. Uh, that remains to be seen. Philip Kennedy Johnson's been teasing a lot of stuff coming down the line for Action, so maybe there's going to be a lot of stuff coming for Red Sin. We'll see. But I agree. It sucks to be a final issue like this. It doesn't feel like it. It kind of just ends, and that's it. There's no
Yeah.
excitement. There's no stay tuned for more. It's just like, okay, bye, we're done. So long. Uh, Despite that, as much as I didn't like that, that did affect my score, but not as much as it affected you guys's, because I still enjoyed the issue quite a lot. And if I looked at it as just any other issue, the art was good, the story was interesting. Red Sin was a somewhat interesting character and a good counterpoint villain for John. And John and Clark had some great moments, some really good moments in this book. So I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, as I'll grade it like any other issue and just ignore the fact that it's the last one because it really doesn't feel like it's the last one. It may be the last one for this title, but same creative team and same characters in a couple of months just with a different title. I don't know why they couldn't just follow suit with Red Hood because that book had like three different titles during its 50 issue run. So just do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, so 8.5 out of 10. That was my score. We'll see where the future of John Kent goes.
Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe.
if he has one.
He might not.
God, I hope he does. He's a cool character. But we will find out. I think the next week or the week after is Action 1050. It's coming very soon. It is this month, right? Or is it in January?
Brandon?
I'm pretty sure it's this month. I've been
I
looking at
I
what's
think
coming up frequently, and now I just don't remember.
I'd have to look it up.
Either way, it is the next issue of Action Comics, so we're getting it within the next month at least. I believe in the next 2 to 3 weeks we're getting Action 1050. So It's coming soon, and we're gonna see what's going to happen with the Super Family going forward. I can't wait. But what else I can't wait for right now is to find out everyone's top 3 books of the week and favorite moment if you had one. Conveniently, it is now the segment where we talk about our top 3 books and favorite moment if you have one. So, boys,
It's
what
2 weeks out,
made
by the
your
way.
list this week? Eh?
It's 2 weeks out, by the way.
It is 2 weeks out. Okay, last
we'll
week
get
of
it
the
on
year.
the 27th.
Right on.
Agreed. Far as the top 3 and favorite moment, man, number 3 would have went to Superman. It would have went to Son of Kal-El, but it can't. So it is going to I Am Batman. Number 2, also Batman related, Batman Inc. And number 1, by the longest stretch of imagination, also Batman related, Wildcats. And speaking of which, that's also where my favorite moment came from. Don't call me Ladytron. Fucking loved it. I've been waiting for that. That was it.
Right on. Brandon, what about you? Brandon? Wait, Josh, can you hear him?
I cannot.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I thought I'd unmuted.
Oh. Wow, we are just
Told
on our
me.
game today, are we not?
Hey.
I know.
Wait.
Well, the funny thing is, like, you said, Brandon, what are yours? And I was like, I went to click it because I had it muted, and I guess I just had not clicked it anyway. No, sorry. At number 3, I had Batman Inc. At number 2, I had Wildcats, also just another really solid series. Right? Number 1, I have to give to Danger Street. I really enjoyed the crap out of that one. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. But my favorite moment easily has to go to the, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, I know they called it like the Megaton Punch or whatever on the Flash TV show. I remember that from the first season. But I forget what he calls it in this issue exactly. But just seeing him lay that punch on the Anti-Monitor was pretty cool.
I think
so
he
that's
just said
definitely my
it was
favorite moment.
the strongest punch in the multiverse or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's what he called.
I have no idea. Yeah, I thought it had a specific. I didn't write it down.
In
I know they
Injustice,
called
they
it something on the
Super
Flash
Sonic
too. I
Punch.
thought it was like the Megaton Punch.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
Like
something
in,
like
in
that.
the video game. Yeah.
I have no.
Sorry, Josh. What was your number 1?
Wildcats.
Wildcats. Okay.
Wildcats.
Well, conveniently, that is my number 3. Is Wildcats. A lot of fun there. Number 2, I had I Am Batman. And at number 1, I had Danger Street. Beyond all measure of odds. A Tom King book made my number 1. Really digging this. I don't think I've enjoyed a Tom King book this much since maybe Mr. Miracle.
That was just depressing. That was like reading the Diary of Anne Frank.
It was that mixed in with the Matrix. Like, it was so freaking weird. Oh man! But
Yeah,
also
I
gave
opened
us
this
the
book
popular
up and I
phrase
saw
that coined
9
"Dark
panels.
Side is."
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, that's a staple. It's a shtick. You know, got to be 9 panels. And favorite moment for me, Wallace returning to Barry with some multiverse backup. I love seeing a multiverse team of heroes, and this was definitely disappointing. A lot of people we've seen before, but really cool to see nonetheless. All right, so that was our favorite moments, and now it's time for your favorite moments. It is
the biggest stinker.
Oh, that's nasty.
Fucking P.U.
All right, boys. What made your stink list this week?
I'll start it
I
off.
think I know.
My stink list is your number 1. Danger Street.
No, really?
25 characters. You're going to give to Tom King 25 fucking characters? He couldn't handle the Bat Family, and you're gonna give them 25 fucking characters? Danger Street. How appropriately titled.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I thought for sure. Well, I'm assuming Brandon and I have the same one, so I thought for sure you would also have it.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, well, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I think originally I would have said I'm Batman, but I think I'm more bored by that, whereas I'm just incredibly disappointed with Son of Kal-El. And I think ultimately, because of that, I'm gonna have to give that my biggest stinker award for this week.
Well
then,
deserved.
I am in shock because I thought for sure we all would have agreed on this book. I would have bet money on it. That my biggest stinker is Batman Spawn because it's
Yeah.
the only book
Oh,
that
yeah, bruh.
that
Yeah,
like
no,
made
I
me
didn't
fall
even
asleep.
Oh,
Didn't
well,
even
that's like bad on a level I
think
can't
about
even
it.
rate.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
I-
So
I
disappointing.
enjoyed most of the rest of the other books. But Batman Spawn was just friggin' boring, and
You pick up a book like that
as
because
much a
you're
fan
hoping
of Greg
for
Capullo's art as
nostalgia.
anybody else. But this just didn't have it for me this time around. And when you guys mentioned that McFarlane did the inking, I'm like, okay, that's what did it. It just looks so different and so lackluster compared to other work he's done. It wasn't working for me either. So it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
And I think, well, let's be honest, the book exists for two reasons. Number one, because they're making a really big Spawn book now and they want to make a shit ton of money, which is respectable. Hey, get your coin where you can. But the second reason that this exists, particularly the reason that it exists in this form, which is to say it was written by Todd McFarlane, is because I think Todd McFarlane wants to say that he wrote Batman Spawn. Because if you look at the history of cross between these two characters, this is the only time that Todd has ever stepped up to the plate and had it, written by him proper. And I think because I thought about the conception of this book and I was like, why did you write this? Like everyone knows you can't write, and I think he knows it too. Although he's tried to refute those claims many, but. Like why? Like you literally could have gotten anyone. Anyone would have jumped at the chance. Like you got Frank to do it the first time, and that was bad. But like I understood why. They got the three writers who worked most prominently on Nightfall to do the second one. Better, but like I understand why. I was like, you could have gotten anyone. Plus, the obvious choice would have been to just get Scott Snyder because you're using the Court of Owls and he co-created them. Like it makes sense, but. I
man, that's a
think
good
this book only
idea.
exists because he wanted to see.
Yeah.
See, he got him to, I guess ghostwrite isn't quite the right word, but he did like a chapter in the Spawn 300 issue that came out. But yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. Like I think it really only exists because of ego.
Probably. Who do you think is better?
Oh, I got to write this issue.
Whose ego do you think is bigger, Todd McFarlane's or Rob Liefeld's?
No, definitely Rob. But that's a whole other thing. I think Rob also may have. Well, I don't want to speculate, but we can talk about that off the air. Yeah, I think Rob may have some other things as well. But yeah, no, Todd definitely has a big ego. But I will say Todd is more charismatic. Yeah, that's not true. He is actually a very charismatic guy. He just kind of flies off the handle when he's on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
At least he brings us amazing toys.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these people are like that.
For
like
us?
Dan did too. Like they can say the most out-of-pocket things you've ever heard. But they're just incredibly entertaining and charismatic and gregarious people.
Very, very on point.
There it is. All right, so I guess with that is our show. So remember, you can help support us by going to buymeacoffee.com/NAR podcasts. Check us out on Twitter at Not a Robot Podcast and subscribe to our Substack for bonus reviews, articles, and more. You can find links to that, other episodes, and various many a thing on our website. As always, there's only one way we say goodbye around here. Until next time.
Be good to each other.
And don't be a robot.